Hi YouTubers, it's George. I'm in the garage and I've had quite a few questions related to the Mazda Bongo campervan, and I think we've had it between 2 and 3 years now, and people are asking me how I'm getting on with it, and different things gone wrong with it, one thing or another. So I thought I'd do a short video and I'll go through. I made a list of the things I found. I'll just move some of this rubbish out of the way. Or what I've experienced with the Bongo. A fair few of the things, it's to do with people bodging things in the first place. But I'll go through it, and I've got a list. This is not a definitive list, but it's quite a long list. Okay, so what's happened in the years of owning it, and bearing in mind it's over 20 years old. Right, some majors, some small stuff. Exhaust rubber mount, one of the rear ones failed. Close to the exhaust rubbers is also an exhaust shield, and that goes between the exhaust and the spare wheel underneath. That was hanging off, and it had 2 tie wraps holding it on, and because it was near the exhaust, the tie wraps melted and the shield was dangling along the road. Okay, back of the vehicle, the tow ball electric plate, which holds the electric socket on the tow ball assembly, was basically mild steel, and it was rusting quite badly, so I changed it to a stainless steel. Now the tailgate of the lifts up, and it has rear red lights in it, like on the corners of the van. Now one of the lights, where the light should be, there was no bulb in it. The other side, the bulb holder wasn't fitted in the lens, it was just dangling in the tailgate door, so there was no light at all coming through the tailgate. The rear window wash pump, because it's got a windscreen wiper on the back and pump to pump water on the rear window, that was faulty, so I had to replace the pump. In the back of the Bongo, there's a cigarette lighter socket not working. When I took it out, there was no wires connected to it in the back, so when they done the conversion to a camper van, they must have disconnected the wires, put the floor down and buried the cables, so I had to run some new wires to the cigarette lighter socket in the back. Right, the rear interior light inside, that would come on its own, and I could go in the bungalow and come out the next day and it would be switched itself on. And it took me a while to sort out what the problem was. And if you went over a road bump, it would make the rear interior light flash, and it turned out to be the catch. The catch has the switch in it in the tailgate, so when you operate the tailgate mechanism, it operated the interior light, but that was faulty, so I had to do a fix on that. What else here? Yeah, the rear interior light on and off, catch randomly come on. Right, the fog light was dangling on cable ties underneath, so it would flap about when you're driving. So I had to sort that out. Now moving forward along the vehicle, the electric blinds have switches, and the switches are near the blinds, but they're also, you can put the blinds down from the dashboard. The dashboard switches were intermittent. Sometimes they'll work, sometimes it wouldn't, so I had to repair the switches. There was illumination of the dashboard several bulbs were out, and also bulbs were out in where you change from neutral into gears in the automatic gearbox indicator. You know, the bit you pull backwards and forwards to select the automatic gears. The bulb's out in that. The aircon packed in. It's not in any particular order. The aircon packed in, and it was the servo that was faulty, so I had to fix that. The retracting mirrors, only one of them worked, so I had to repair that. When I first got the vehicle, there was no bonnet stay. That had been broken off, and so I had to make a bonnet stay to hold the bonnet up if I needed to check things. The oil dipstick, the end of the dipstick, the knob was broken off, so there's nothing to grip to pull the dipstick out, so I had to make a new knob for that. The Poptop warning lights came on recently, and to say that the top was not fully down, well, it was down, and they were the two micro switches I had to sort out on the Poptop. The gas ring, only one burner would work because the jet was blocked. This is in the cooking part of the campervan. There was also the gas click sensor bit had gone rusty, and it had fell inside below the two gas rings, so I had to dismantle that and put a new clip on it. There was mould growing in the water pipe for the water pump, and I've had to change the pipe, and I've changed it to a food grade see-through one, so if I can see mould growing in future I can obviously clean it out. And what else? Yeah, the actual water pump handle fell off in the sink, and I think that's that. I'm down to there. Right, the engine rocker box oil seal was completely knackered, and that was leaking oil, engine oil. There was two other oil leaks from the engine. One was like a breather, and another one was from the oil filler cap housing itself, so I had to make and seal that up. I've had to replace the vacuum pipes, and there's about 8 or 9 vacuum pipes on this vehicle. They were cracked and perished. The coolant temperature sensor for the temperature gauge on the dashboard, the sensor itself was faulty. It didn't seem to measure the temperature correctly. I've had 3 water leaks and rusted pipes I've had to sort out on the vehicle. The fuel filter water sensor failed, so I had to replace that. We talked about 3 water leaks. Yeah, the fridge was doing strange things, and when I examined it I found that the cutlery tray above the fridge, if it slammed shut or not, stuff was not put in it correctly, the cutlery would go on top of the cooling part of the fridge and stop the fridge from working. So, and there was some spoons and things and a broken ruler left from the previous owner or previous owners on top of the fridge inside the mechanism. The bed catch, which is the rock and roll bed, when it was down, it needed 3 people to undo the catch so you could get the bed back up. It's a safety catch, and I had to fix that. The leisure battery failed, so I had to fit a new leisure battery. I got a puncture in the rear tyre, which I managed to fix myself. A lot of the plastic trim that holds the grille around the lights area at the front. The clips were broken, so there was nothing really holding the front grille in apart from some cable ties. So I've now resolved that issue with new screws and some better cable ties. The air intake, not for the engine but for the cab, you know, the heating and the aircon scoop that's under the bonnet, that didn't have the right plastic clips in it, and so it was all loose and vibrates. Yeah, the radiator for the cooling the engine was loose in its mounts and was rattling, and I thought, well, that'll probably break it long term. And what else did I think about? Yeah, underneath there's two shields that shield the engine, like stone guards. The first one nearest the front of the vehicle was held on with cable ties, because the bolts that thread into the chassis have been sheared off. The second stone guard had only got a couple of bolts in it, so that was loose. What else is there? Oh, yeah, the bonnet has a drain plug that drains near the windscreen. That was blocked. That's a common problem with them. And also there's two drain parts which drain that like gutter in the engine compartment, goes down inside the wing. Both sides were solid with mud and I had to hose them out. Yeah, yes, the sensor on the dashboard for the anti-deterrent theft thing, the battery was flat. There were sensors on the dashboard for a tracking system or sat nav or something. The wires didn't fit this radio system that's in it currently, so I should imagine somebody swapped out the system that was in it originally and forgot to take the sensor off the dashboard. So that was a sensor glued to the dashboard sort of thing, and it didn't do anything, and the wire just dangled under the dashboard, so I got rid of that. The original design of the vehicle had two TV aerials mounted on the back glass window, which were glued to the glass. I've removed the aerials, and it had about 8 coaxial cables running through the vehicle with plugs on in the dash and around the centre console and stuff, which went nowhere, and I took those out, and there's wires running everywhere with nothing connected to them. What else is there? Yes, when they done the van conversion, they put the flooring down in, and when they put the flooring down in, they put the flooring over several bolts, and those bolts heads enable you to remove them and get at the engine compartment, the rear of the engine. Because they put the flooring on top, it's very, very difficult to get at the bolts. You really need to cut the floor to get at the bolts. Yeah, the gas locker, the gas bottle was sort of strapped in roughly. There's no gas locker itself, there's no compartment. The 230 volt hookup cable runs about an inch from the gas regulator in where the gas bottle is stored, and if you need to get the drinking water tank out the van to fill it up, because that's how you're supposed to do it, you have to take the gas bottle out, you have to empty that locker completely from the back of the van, slide it out and fill it up with water. There's no wastewater tank on the van, and there's no toilet. Is there anything else? Yes, this is nothing to do with the conversion, but it's something you have to be careful of. On the sliding door, on the edge, there's a slide lock, and it's for so you can, the children, if there's any in the back, can't open the doors. It's so easy to knock it. Like, both of us got in the back to have a cup of tea, shut the sliding door. We couldn't get out. We had to scramble over the headrests and through the centre console to get out the driver's door so we could open the sliding door. So if you've got one, what I suggest you do is make a little metal plate and put over that switch. It's a blooming nuisance. And I'm trying to think of anything else. I think that's about it. So, do I like the van? And what's my feeling? I'm going to keep it. At the moment, I think it needs a timing belt. It's had one done a couple of years ago. It hasn't done a lot of miles, but there's a noise coming from the front of the engine. It sounds like it's squeaking, and it only does it at low revs and things like that, and occasionally it doesn't do it at all. And I think it's the idler wheel on the timing belt. The only problem is I can't find anybody locally who's willing to do the timing belt on it, and I've found around loads of garages 20-30 miles away, and they still don't want to do it. It's because it's a mid-engine vehicle. The main Bongo dealer is Leeds, which is over 100 miles away, and I'm hoping to get that looked at when I'm on holiday up Yorkshire way. But it's a mid-engine vehicle. It's a real pain to check the engine oil or to check anything really on it. It's not an easy vehicle to work on. There's a lot of electrical things on it which I don't understand what they do. It's very good to drive. It's very comfortable. It's not too bad on fuel. Easy to park. It's really a posy vehicle with the wheels and things. I've just had the suspension upgraded at the back. New shocks a while back, and it's now got new uprated springs and bump stops. I've had that done, and it passed its MOT. So it's got like a 4 months 12 MOT. Yeah, do I like it? I think I'd like it better if it was easier to work on, and yeah, it's not that high mileage, and yes, I don't know what to say really. I'm going to have a look at a Campervan, a VW sometime, but they're so expensive, and so I hope this helps someone with all these things I've found with it, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more. But yeah, thanks for watching this video. I'm going to put some photos into it, not necessarily of the vehicle, but just to make it something to look at while you hear me waffling.